What's up, Rubits? Little Big Robot's back. I really am a fan of toys because I enjoy engineering, design. When you say engineering when it comes to toys, people think, we're talking about, some person with glasses living in New York City designing in a big glass building. No, it's basically just the method they use and the steps they go through to make a toy that works as an object you can move and play with and pose and all that good stuff. These are some wooden kind of puzzle toys, I guess you'd want to call them, that my brother gave to me and my wife. My wife did a couple of steps of it and was like, this is intense. And I was like, yeah. So I ended up finishing this one first. This is going to give you an idea of the level of difficulty. I don't know that it was that difficult, but I am pretty darn experienced at building models. I've been doing it for a long time. Done hundreds of them. The difficulty, what I'm finding with these wooden kits, is that their instructions can vary from great to poor. So let me give you an example and then I'll go over what I've built here. This is a bit more of an advanced kit. The robot on the left, this tank, what's our tank called? The US tank. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? Anyway, the tank is quite a bit more simple, but in some ways more complicated. And yes, you're going to see some little bits here and there where my cat, he decided to come up and chew on it, on the barrel. He loves to chew. Like a lot of animals, and he chewed on the wood a little bit. I don't blame him, it looks chewable. So on this tank, for example, this was much more simple. It's just the steps and the instructions. There's no electronic component, there's no wind-up component like there is with this robot, which I'll go over in just a second. But what's funny is you essentially had 4 to 6 to 10 sheets of wood that were laser cut, and then you'd go on here, you would find the part you need, and you literally just had to look, where's A8, and you look until you find it, then you pull out that sheet number and you pop the piece off and you assemble it. So what I'm finding is that a lot of these kits, they're made in China, they're made as cheaply as possible. This one came in a flat pack, like ½ inch thick, maybe a little large, about the size of a legal pad maybe, which is fantastic for shipping. You could ship 100 of them for the cost of 20 of these, and it works, but it's a bit tedious. It reminds me a lot of the LOZ kits, the Laws kits I get from USA Gundam Store. They're fantastic, fun little builds, but they're basically, it just shows you the part and where to put it. You have to go through the bags and just sort through them like puzzle pieces, so you really have to almost organize before you do it. This way you just had to search for the piece. Now, if you're going to assemble one of these, the only real tip I can give you, well, there's a couple tips. First is that when you're popping a piece off of the piece of wood, don't just go pop it out. If it's a little tight, give it a little wiggle. If you start to see a split on one side, let's say if you're having a piece and as you're pulling it off it starts to split and come off from the piece, go from the other way, save that piece, and then put a little spot of glue and put the piece back. Fortunately, it doesn't happen a lot. These things really work well. In fact, I was shocked at how much fun I had putting this together, so I'll be getting some others. These were gifts, so I'll be picking out some of my own. Second, I have to say, or a tip I have to give you is, there's an obvious step here. You slide that part into there, but you assemble this part first. Again, kind of obvious there. I mean, like, for example, this part goes between these two here. So you would think, I'm going to put those together first and then squeeze it on. But if you don't notice it at first, you put these two parts on first, then you try to squeeze that on, so you have to pull them off, blah, blah, blah. So you really have to kind of pay attention to timing. There's a few examples of that in here. Trying to think of one that's really good. The body was quite something. As you're building these side pieces here and assembling them, I actually broke that front little piece there, and I need to glue it back together. So as you can see, it's a little loose still there. Maybe not so bad. Because I didn't pay attention to the timing of it. And by the time I needed to get it apart, instead of pulling the entire thing apart, I just pulled a gap and tried to pull it out, and it snapped it. So really, I would get the pieces that you need, and then look at the next step or two and consider if you might need to pay attention to timing on those steps. That's the only thing I say in here. On a Bandai Gundam kit, it would tell you plainly, assemble this first. They're amazing nowadays. So this is the tank. Oh, boop. Of course, I'm hitting the camera. That wouldn't be. What is this? Abrams. Couldn't remember our nation's tank. It's the Abrams. I think it looks like an Abrams, especially from the side. You can see that it's a little bit, they're pretty flat. These side skirts are pretty flat, but not perfectly. The barrel, what's interesting about this is it's not rounded, but what they decided to do is put these rounded parts in here to kind of give it the illusion of being rounded off, and I think it works really well. This is a much more simpler kit. I believe it does rotate all the way. I haven't really messed with this first time. Some of the hatches work. You got some pretty interesting stuff. Like this is the driver's. What is it? It's a driver, right? What is it? Tank commander, gunner, driver. Anyway, some of the hatches work. Then you'll have little parts where they'll ask you to put these dots on here, and they'll be marked with an actual little. It's hard to see this little camo lining here, but it'll be marked where to put it. The front ones were not, so you had to just eyeball it. Again, not bad. Just be careful with it. Some parts are a little loose like that. You can tighten those up by gluing the joint, gluing them together where they join. You don't, not necessarily totally where it doesn't turn, but if it's that loose, you could squeeze it hard and glue it. That'll help. Just be careful of what you're doing. So on that one, just pay attention to timing, because that can affect it. But overall, I think it looks really cool. It's a cool shelf piece. I could see people even painting these, like a realistic paint job, and actually from a distance, it's other than the barrel, really not even the barrel, but from a distance it looks fantastic. I think it's just a really cool. I'm glad I got one of these from my brother, because I've never done one, and now I'm really excited about the whole world of wooden stuff. Now this is a much more complicated build, but it's much more interesting. Let me show you the steps on this one to kind of give you an idea of the difference. So here's some of the blank wood. And I believe they just use a laser cutter, which is literally a laser. And it has a nice burnt smell when you first get it. It's kind of nice. Burnt wood. This has a lot more stuff in it. I had all these leftover bits, which, like with the regular model kit, you might want to keep these. It actually came with batteries. It came with a measurement stick so that you can measure the dowel rods without having to get your own measure. It's really, everything was in there. It even came with this screwdriver. I can't remember why I needed to screw stuff together. Oh, to put the lights in here, which I'll show you in a second. Has some other stuff. They do all these other. Basically, they make just random toys, which is really cool. I mean, you're gonna have that with some of these companies. Let's see here. You got Think Gizmos, I think, is the company. Put this away, and then let me show you the instructions. I don't know what that is. I think that's a warranty. But anyway, so their instructions are much better, which is fine. It's fine. It's a little more complicated build. So it actually tells you what you're getting, tells you where to find it. You see, everything was labeled really nicely on the sheets. A funny thing was I kept thinking it was saying lower, like a Q as in queen step. Let me see if I can find it. It's B. There's C. Yeah. I kept thinking this was Q, and I thought they made a mistake. That's a lowercase a. Took me forever. So you can see it does get always. By the way, always date and timestamp your stuff when you finish up. Trust me, for the future, as someone who's done that for a long time, it's very handy. So you get it put together. What's really interesting about that is the arms are a little loose, but they will hold a pose. But the actual elbow actually has. I don't know if you can hear that. It actually has a lock mechanism to hold a position, which is pretty impressive. I know that there's a wooden puzzle person I see on YouTube. He's really a well-known wooden puzzle maker, and he even makes springs out of wood, which is really interesting. It basically uses a certain kind of cut and the wood has an elasticity. He uses a type that's really a good has elasticity, and it'll work as a spring. So these you could probably tighten up to make them hold a pose better. These are a little loose when you put them together, but the hands actually move and, you know, will grab stuff. This is interesting too. The legs actually have, this is the first time turning them, you see the little, basically it's just like a piece, like a plastic equivalent of a joint. And what's cool about that is that actually these feet remind me of a Imperator Titan from Warhammer. So that's kind of cool. So it looks really cool. This is where it really gets interesting, though. They added all these little kind of greebles, stuff like this. I don't know why it has plants growing out of it. I'm not sure what that is. I need to figure that out. I think it's kind of, I don't know. It's like a robot that's been sitting around for a while. So this is where it gets really interesting. As you go ahead and inside here, you put a music box, which makes these rotate, which right now, these parts I put too tight. I put them too tightly in. So the music box rotates, which I'm going to do the music box, but I'm going to wait till last because it plays for a while. Instead of rotating that, it just rotates in the joint, the music box. So I've got to get in there. I've got to remove this. I glued this down just barely. I got to remove this, get in there, and loosen up those joints. But check this out. They thought of everything. So you pop this up. There is your switch for the LEDs. It's going to be hard to see here because I'm in the natural light. You might be able to see that. See the LED light in there? So it lights that up, and I think it sends light through here as well. It's much easier to see in dimmer light. It's not super bright, but it does work. It does work really well when you're even just mildly dim light. So you can turn that off. This was a great touch. You can change the battery right there. It comes right out. This little access hatch, isn't that great? It actually has a little stopping point there, which is fantastic. So the idea is that he's a little walking robot. I thought maybe he did walk at first, but he doesn't by himself, which would be pretty crazy. So just give us one. So there you go. It's whining a little bit. Let's see if I can get it to. So that's pretty cool. You can see it's not stopping the music box. I just don't want to wind it up all the way because it'll go on forever. I think if the music box is tightened up a little bit, it has a good tension on it. But anyway, you can just see it moving. I've got to get in there, and you won't be able to see it, but the actual music box is rotating. There it goes. You know, maybe add a little bit of wax in there or something to loosen that up, because that's a cool, you know, a motion feature of the toy, which I think is really cool. Unfortunately, music boxes you can't stop. Let's just hold them. So let's just hold that for now. So really, really cool. All these are just little glued greebles. Some parts are in there. You have to kind of make a decision about what you want to glue down and what you don't want to glue down. A lot of this I do not have glue down because I wanted to be able to take it apart if I wanted to and play with it. You know, look at how it's engineered and stuff. Also, if you glued these parts down, for example, you wouldn't be able to tighten them up. So keep those loose until you really have them where you want them. The legs, I'm really kind of shocked at how well the legs move, but I'm a little scared to untighten that because with wood, it's not plastic. You're afraid of snapping it. But let's be honest, wood gives a little bit. Wood has some flexibility on it, so maybe wood is the better choice for a lot of toys that'll last longer. So really, really cool. You could actually take this apart. You could paint it. You could weather it, you know, like paint it. Like, imagine this all on like a gunmetal, like an actual silver little robot. It would no longer look like wood. It would be completely, you know, quote unquote realistic looking. I believe the entire back is loose. I can't remember, but I can take this off. I didn't glue these parts down, these lips here all around the main box, and so I'll be able to pull that off, I believe, and we'll be able to you know, add a little wax in there, loosen that up a little bit, so as you wind it, it actually works. So it's really, really, really cool. I'm really shocked at how fun these were to build. As a modeler, as somebody who builds tons of models, as somebody who likes how things fit together and go and work and stuff, these were really fun build. If you haven't tried one yet, I would definitely recommend it. You can get them dirt cheap. You can spend a lot of money. You can do all sorts of stuff. There's a few main companies that do it and a few that do it better and some that don't do it as well. This company seemed to be really good. To TGI, Gizmo, I think is what they're called. They have batteries and everything. Let me see. I think Gizmos. So if you want to Google that or Amazon that, that's who made the robot, and it was really fun. I would totally recommend it. If you're a new builder, you might, get somebody's help or whatever, but just take your time with these, especially ones like this that don't have as robust instructions. But I love this stuff. I think it's fantastic. This is really, really neat. I could just imagine this painted. I think it would look really, really cool. Great shelf piece and everything. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.